signs for your ride. SignBros is the place where we make your signs.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
I can't keep up with you guys.
that works. That's perfect.
Good morning.
man.
We are the
appreciate
SignBros. Welcome to the SignBroCast. We are on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Make sure to follow us. Hit the link below. We want to welcome this morning Mr. Papa Joe Nuñez.
Yes.
Good morning,
Great
guys. Good morning.
photographer
Good morning. Yes.
of El Paso. Welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I'm
thanks
honored.
for joining us, man. Thanks for joining
Just
us.
don't ask me to sing because I can't keep up with you guys.
And the high was perfect, man. The high was perfect. How long have you been doing photography?
Over 25 years. I've always been fascinated with it. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, ever since I can remember.
Oh,
You started
nice.
off with like a little disc camera back in the
Yeah.
80s. And it's
I
just
never
something that's always been a part of my
wow.
life.
Which one's a disc camera? I don't remember that.
It's like an old. You would have to buy the disc film. It was like actually like a disc.
Literally a disc, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you pop it in the back, and that was your film.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Memories. I remember that.
You
Yeah.
took some great shots there at the wedding, at
Thank
Natalie's
you, man.
wedding.
Yeah, I was
Thank you.
so honored to be there
That was
for
awesome.
Natalie and Richard and your whole family. It's crazy how I've always been around you guys. I don't know if you know it, but like I used to have a business like in the early 2000s, and I actually came here and got my business card made by you guys, and you guys made like a like a magnetic sign for me for my truck.
Oh,
Really?
And this is like 20 years ago.
Probably when we
first
stepped
opened,
up.
Yeah, I
15
was
years ago.
work with Ike. Yeah.
Yeah, we've
And
been
it
here
was
for
for-
15 years.
For the
so-
photography? That they
Yeah, I
did?
had a different company back then called Jab Photography,
Oh, okay.
and I sent the
remember
graphics to
seeing
Ike,
that.
and you guys hooked it up.
I remember seeing that Jap photography. I had no idea it was you.
Yeah, that was mine.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I started shooting for roller derby. I think like in 2012.
Natalie was
And Natalie
involved,
was
yeah.
part of the league there, and she's always been a real good friend of ours. Her and her sister April went to high school with my son, so there was that connection there too.
wow.
So it's just, I don't know. It's always been some crazy relation to you guys.
How many
crazy.
pictures did you take that
That's
day?
what I was just gonna
Like,
ask. Because
over-
you were, I
oh,
saw you
over like-
snapping away.
Took
man.
over almost
Like-
4,000 pictures.
What, 4,000?
And that's probably about typical for any event,
Yeah,
usually?
for a big event like a wedding, yeah, that's typical.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, dude.
Is that-
We happened to be playing that for that wedding, and there were some of the best pictures that I don't like myself in pictures, but I really like the
look-
pictures you took
You
of
looked
us.
good.
Yeah,
You made
it made me look.
You photoshopped him real good.
Well, all you
lot
guys
of
gotta do is
Photoshop.
ask. I mean, I'll come shoot
appreciate
you guys
that,
anytime.
Is that, when you say 4,000 pictures is typical, is that typical for you? Or is that typical for any, it should be for any photographer? Or I
Probably
have no
depends on
idea.
how-
I don't know. I think I'm a little
length
more obsessed about getting the good shot.
Sure.
Got you.
I can only speak for myself, so
Yeah.
I'm sure that other photographers feel the same way as far as like wanting to get the capture the moment, you know, the emotions and everything. So for me, I figure the more I shoot, the more chance I have of getting it.
Getting
You
a
know?
better shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you go through all of them.
I do one by one,
Wow.
all of them.
So, of those 4,000, I'm sure you go through and delete. How many do you end up keeping of those?
Well, I
4,000?
keep all of them. I always keep all of them,
Okay.
even if they're not good. But I still
Gotcha.
keep them, and then I'll usually end up editing about 300. So that's what I deliver.
Got you.
Editing, meeting, putting filters, turning them
It's
black
not really
and
filters.
white,
It's
or-
just enhancing them, changing the lighting, bringing out shadows, bringing out color,
Nice.
cropping. Because sometimes the angle is wider than what I want.
Sure.
Or the-
But I still have the shot in there, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes the crazy uncles in the background, you have to.
The Thea, the Thea's on the
crazy
dance floor with.
Wow.
And it's good for the client to have all those 4,000 options to have, right?
Well,
Or-
actually, they get like the 300.
Oh, okay.
Like the 4,000, it's just overkill for. They don't want to see all that stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
I give them the cleaned up version. That way, like sometimes the room is really dark, and at weddings, that's the case most of the time. So I'll bring out some of the lighting. You know, I'll focus more on what should be the focal point of the shot.
wow, nice.
During this quarantine, I'm sure you did. Did you work at all?
I didn't.
Didn't
I put my
work at all?
camera away for 2 months, and I didn't
Wow.
even think about it.
Wow.
Didn't touch it. I think for me, it was a welcome break from doing it. Actually, that wedding was the last thing I shot before the
That was right when it
pandemic.
was-
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were.
It was
even,
like
there
that
even,
day.
Yeah, it was even like talk about them even
Should we? Should
sitting
we?
it down or
Right.
that was right at that time.
So it was a really nice way to like stop right there, and then I had time to I had like 2 months to edit because
Catch up.
people don't realize that, like, okay, so I go and shoot a wedding and stuff or an event or whatever, but a lot of the work is the editing, like the post editing.
Oh, yeah.
But that's actually my favorite part. Like for me, that's therapy, where I can just sit there and I'm still in the moment and I take my time
Relax.
with it. Yeah. So I mean, that could take me all day. And especially with a wedding, it'll take me several days to edit them.
I'm
But-
sure.
But because I like to do them in episodes, and then if I just run out of the creative energy, I'll just stop if I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
Then I'll come back and a couple more hours and stuff.
Nice.
Are you getting withdrawals with the camera?
No, actually,
2 months?
we started shooting again. We started doing seniors.
Some senior
We've done a
stuff,
couple of
huh?
senior graduation photos, and it's been really nice to get back out there and shoot again.
Nice.
Wow.
Anything odd? Anything odd with these senior stuff? Masks
No.
and toilet paper or anything like that?
We did one the other day. We did one for Patsy Pedro, one for one of our special ed students.
Nice.
Oh,
And that was like actually one of my favorite shoots that we've done the past couple of weeks. It's a really, really good kid. He had his Thanos glove.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
That was really cool. I did a couple of free shoots for some of the kids who were like those adopted senior kids.
Oh, cool.
So some of our friends adopted a senior, and I told them, you know what? Actually, one of my friends asked me if I could help her. I was like, yeah. So we went and met a little girl in Sparks at a park, and we took some pictures for her, and
Oh, nice.
she was really excited. And that was one of like the first ones, so it was nice to get out, you know.
Cool. And when you get a client, do they typically like trust you to pick the scenery, or do you go with what they want, or usually a little bit of both?
Well, I always give them the option to tell me where they want me to meet them.
Sure.
And if they need help, I don't mind suggesting different locations. We pretty much shot all over town, but it's nice when we find a new spot, you know, somewhere new. But if they want to meet like at a park, I know all the good spots from
Yeah.
past experiences, so that's pretty cool too.
You know all the good spots from all the parks? Probably.
Most parks, yeah.
Most parks.
Well, that location that we met, I met you was at the, what was it that we did the wedding? Well, the reception where we sang it. With them.
The rail yard, epic
That's
rail
a
yard.
great
Epic.
place.
Man, that's real nice.
My first time there was
It's excellent.
Yeah,
the
really nice.
texture and just the whole vibe was just really nice.
cool. Cool.
And I loved it.
You didn't catch any ghosts in the background or nothing? Ooh.
No, but
that you know of.
sometimes I'll catch some orbs.
Yeah.
But
Okay, here we go.
I don't know if it's just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the light's messing with me, or
Yeah. I'm
So,
sure.
as much as you do photography and as well as you do it, are you like an official photographer for anybody, where they always just come to you?
well, that's the thing.
Patsy
I like.
Pedregon, for sure.
Yeah, Patsy.
And probably
Thank you,
roller
Patsy.
derby, no?
Well, I don't do roller derby anymore. I stopped about 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's funny because like photography is more of a hobby for me because I have a full-time job that I like to keep like private and away from my social media life.
Sure.
A lot of people know where I work, but I've been at my job for 26 years and
Oh, wow.
I love it.
Oh, shoot.
Um,
I thought the photography was
no,
your full time.
no, I have a full-time job and
Nice.
I can retire like in a year, but I probably won't. I'm still too young, and I love it there. Like my job is one of the most consistent parts of my life. You know,
Gotcha.
it's been there for
Yeah.
me. So, and then my employer was great to us during the pandemic too, and I had nothing but good things to say about.
So you were off during this whole. You were completely off during this
Well,
whole
yeah.
2 months.
Yeah, it's funny because like I had been talking to Judy about. Judy's my fiance. She helps me out with everything. Like she's excuse me, she's like 95% of my photo shoots because she's the one that has the eye for details and she'll move hair out of the way and
There you
fix.
go.
You just
Little
push the
things
button
that,
and
yeah, little
Yeah.
things that we don't see.
Those are things that people take for granted, you know. And I was telling her it's weird because I haven't had a week-long vacation in like 5 years. Because I like to take my days off, like I'll add them to a 3-day weekend or whatever, you know. Or most of the time it's because of my kids. Like if I need to take my son somewhere, he's a college student, so I'll take a day off to go help him or whatever. And then all of a sudden I got 6 weeks off because of the pandemic that I didn't even ask for, but I was gladly
Yeah, it's
Enjoying-
nice vacation.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so I was off for 6 weeks, and I was really glad to go back to work, and just the fact that I have a job and to go back to and everything.
Yeah.
So right now you work how many days a week? And I mean, for a month, you do every week in a month, pretty much right now. Photography.
photography,
Photography.
Just as it comes to me, you know, it's funny because I don't really go out and push it. I don't solicit any work.
It's word of mouth.
It's
I'm sure.
most of the time it's for my friends, like for friends that we've made over the years. Like a lot of my roller derby friends call us for stuff, and the bulk of my work comes from like the music scene because we help we do our best to help the music scene as much as we can, and we made a lot of really good friendships because of it. And so like those people will call me, hey, we need this, and we'll help them out.
Nice.
Wow.
I guess that's a good way to lead into the that was your platform for your podcast, right? Is that how it started? If I'm
Yeah, well,
correctly?
we had let me see, when did we start? Like in 2015, we had a project called the Metal Shop Vlogs, and we would have bands come over to our house, or it was like bands or solo artists, whatever, whoever was being featured that week. So we would interview them, and then we would have like 2 songs performed, and then I would put it together in a video for them to have to like promote their act, maybe help them get on shows, have people buy their music and their merch and stuff like that.
Nice.
So that was the whole purpose of that. We really wanted to just help out musicians as much as we could, because Judy and I both have kids who were musicians in the local scene. As a matter of fact, a lot of people know this already, but Judy and I met at a show that our kids were playing.
Oh, nice.
Oh wow.
So like I showed up, I would always carry my son's cab and his guitar for him into the venue. I would help him out. And so that evening, it was like in March 23rd of 2012. We met at the Percolator because my son was playing a show with his brand new band. So we carried his stuff in, and we're sitting there, and my daughter and I were sitting there, and then I just see Judy with her daughter walking in carrying drums, and Judy was little, and she was carrying the bass drum. So I thought, that's awesome, man, like another parent, At that time, I was thinking, how come there aren't more parents here?
She needs my help.
Or more like, I need her help.
Yeah, probably, because she handles her business well.
Awesome.
And that was one of the things in my head, how come there aren't more parents here? But then I also realized that, and it was really hard for me to realize this, but a lot of kids, teenagers, they're not used to having adults around them in their own element. And sometimes they're uncomfortable talking to you. And they'll look at you like, why are you even talking to me?
Yeah.
So I was really blessed that my son was always cool with me being around him and his friends.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure a lot has to do with just the way you are with him too.
Yeah, for a long time, he was like my best friend,
Yeah.
Cool. You're the cool dad, little tattoos and the beard and stuff. Yeah.
So I was really lucky to be able to just hang out with him, even go to his practices and stuff. And I never felt like I was in the way or.
Gotcha.
And it was never awkward for me. So that's why we got involved with the music scene so much. I actually went to a show to take pictures of my son.
Sure.
To have of him, because I always did since he was in middle school and in bands. And then I just figured, you know what, since I'm here, I might as well shoot the other bands too. I can help them.
where it
Instead of
started?
just sitting here doing nothing.
Did you find out? That's when you found out that there was more pictures of Judy than the band.
That's
how it started.
That's one thing I can say is that when I go to a show, I focus on the stage, like the band. I'm not so much like a crowd. If there's friends there, you'll see that. If I take a picture of them, I'm in it. I take selfies with our friends.
Nice. Yeah.
But my whole focus is on the bands, especially local bands. That's where my passion is. I mean, I could try to get into maybe like a bigger area of photography, shooting at bigger places and arenas and venues and stuff. But for me, it's always been about locals. Because of my kid. And that's where the whole root of my passion started, with my kids.
Wow. Are you a musician yourself?
Well, I used to play guitar when I was a teenager. It was the 80s. I grew up in the 80s. I'm an 80s kid.
Yeah.
Is he a
And,
metalhead or?
Yeah, metalhead.
Oh, nice.
That's why we called the vlog the Metal Shop, because back then in the 80s there was a radio show at night called the Metal Shop.
Oh wow.
So so I'm still stuck in the 80s, but
As we all are.
thanks to my son like brought me up to date on music, and now I love a lot of modern music.
Oh, nice.
So I have a bigger passion for even like newer music and different genres, and we've actually made a lot of really good friends who tour the country, and some of them tour to the world.
Wow.
And then like for a while, Judy and I were helping bands who would come into town to play. They'd stay at our house and stuff, and she would make food for them. And
Oh, wow. Awesome.
we made some of the coolest friends over here.
Any big bands that started here in El Paso?
Well, I mean, like we know Cesar Soto. We had him on our podcast actually, and that's what I was gonna go into. We had the vlog for like 3 years. We did it 3 years straight, man, and we had at least one band a week. Sometimes we would do 2 a day.
Wow. 2 a day. Wow.
And it just kind of, I think it just kind of like ran its course, so we stopped doing it. And then I wanted to get Judy more involved with the whole production of it, because when I was doing the vlog, she was filming everything, and I always felt like her personality should be part of the project. You know? So we started the podcast. It's called the Desert Bonfire, and now she's part of the interview panel. It's just audio now, so it's her and I interviewing or our friends in the music scene or anybody that's doing anything cool in El Paso. You know.
Nice.
Yeah. So we've been doing that. We're at episode 29 now.
Wow.
And during the pandemic, we just switched it up. We've been recording at our house, and we've gotten her daughter more involved. So it's like a 3-person chat. We
Gotcha.
just talk a bunch of. Can you cuss or no?
Sure. Reviews and stuff.
You be you, man.
We just talk shit, man. You know, it's
Gotcha.
fun. We actually have a couple of drinks and just talk about whatever's going on and whatever we've been up to during the pandemic, just staying home and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. Was it once a week or?
Yeah, every Sunday. I try to release every Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you guys do it live, or do you pre-record it?
No, I record it and I go back and edit because what we're doing is we also started like reviewing local music.
Ooh.
So I'll ask some friends too, and that's another thing is we're really blessed in that aspect too, because I can ask friends for their local music that's been recently released, and they'll like send us stuff in like that.
Boom. Nice.
So we always pick 4 songs per episode, and we'll listen to them, and then we'll review them.
Oh.
But it's called the truthful and biased review, because we got nothing but love for our local music scene, and we're not gonna
bash
anybody
Yeah,
for for whatever. It's nothing but love.
Sure.
Cool.
Wow. Pretty
Sounds
cool.
like
And
fun.
El Paso's got a really good music scene. I've been gone for 15 years, and I came back, and I really appreciate listening to
So
a lot of
much
local
talent.
bands.
There's a
So
lot of
much
talent,
talent.
man. Yeah,
There
there's
is.
a lot
Yeah.
of talent.
Very cool. Wow. So what's your next gig coming up? Any other weddings coming up right now, or still kind of?
No, right now I don't have anything major. Nothing planned. I had like a Sweet 16 and stuff like that, but right now with the whole COVID-19 stuff going on,
Everything's on hold.
people are postponing or
Yeah,
they're just choosing to do something else for their kids, like taking them on vacation or something.
Wow.
I want to hear the history on your beard, man. I think you're known for your long beard and your style of photography. Give us a background on that.
It's funny because like I never even, when I was a teenager, like when I was like maybe like 18, I couldn't even grow a mustache. So I was always resolved to the fact that I couldn't grow any facial hair. So I never tried. I had a goatee and I was like, that's cool, that's good enough. But when you're about, I think it's been about 9 years, some friends of mine from work, we decided to do No Shave November. And we said whoever shaves first has to buy lunch.
And you're
So
still
nobody,
playing.
so
You're still
nobody,
playing 9 years later.
well, nobody shaved, and I got a beard. I was like, what the heck?
Yes.
Where did this come from? And I even had a tweet like 2 years before then that said, "Man, I wish I could grow a beard." So it was
Wow.
funny to go back, and I was like, "Wow, look."
So that's 9 years old.
No, this is actually 5 years old.
Oh.
I grew it for 3 years, and then I won a Battle of the Beards contest
Nice.
at Lowbrow Palace. And so part of the prize for that contest was like a gift certificate to a barbershop. I'm not gonna say who it was.
You still have it?
No, I actually used it, and the guy butchered my beard. So I didn't like it at all. I was really unhappy with it. So I just shaved the whole thing off. I shaved it off, and I started over. And
Wow.
So this is 5
So
years.
that's 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, we enjoyed.
it.
We enjoyed. I love the pictures you took. They were
Thank you, man.
incredible
I appreciate
pictures.
it so much.
And you have a website and everything else people can go check out. Facebook.
I don't. Most of my stuff, some of my stuff I'll share on Facebook, but I don't have a website because I choose to respect people's privacy. And
Gotcha.
I know people sometimes are very sensitive about what you post on
Sure.
the web. That has to do with them and their families and their kids. So I don't do that.
Gotcha.
If you want to see my pictures, you have to ask the customers for them.
Gotcha. And so
Well,
far,
that's the great thing is, like you said, it's a hobby, man. So you don't you don't really have to push it. And that's like we do with this. Like this is a hobby for us too. This podcast, we have our business that thankfully it keeps us going. We enjoy doing this.
Right.
I enjoy having people on hearing their stories.
but
man.
as far as people contacting you, you want to throw something out there?
Yeah,
or
you can hit me up on Facebook.
Okay.
Usually just shoot me a message, or I also have a photo page on Facebook where I post like all of the band pictures, because in the past we've always gone to a bunch of shows, and a lot of people reach me there. Just hit up Papa Joe Photography on Facebook.
We'll put all the information on the screen for you, man.
Yeah.
Also have a Instagram. It's a personal Instagram. I share some of my photos on there too. It's Papa Joe _EPTX on Instagram. I have a Twitter, but I don't really use it, man. And like, especially like nowadays with everything going on with all the protests and. Man, if people hear what I want to have to say, I might get myself in trouble. So,
I hear you. And Papa Joe, how did you get the name Papa Joe?
well, it's funny because Judy's older daughter, her name is Amber. She's the one that's helping us with the podcast. Just out of nowhere, like one day, she just said, "I baptize you as Papa Joe" on Facebook, and ever since then, it just stuck, man.
Oh yeah,
Really?
She's the one that told me, and this is like
when you
way
use the
before.
word baptize, you have to.
This is like way before Judy and I were even like dating, because we were friends for a long time.
Oh, wow.
We were friends, you know. We would just see each other at shows and stuff. But the thing is that like her kids and my kids got along really well. So, and we were at shows, so that's where the whole friendship, you know, came about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And the rest is history.
Well, speaking of history, tell us about you. You grew up in El Paso. You're from El Paso?
Yes, I grew up in El Paso, born and raised here. I've never lived anywhere but here.
Nice.
I grew up in the Lower Valley, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm a Lower Valley kid. I went to Atlanta High School.
Nice.
And
Okay.
Graduated in '86. Grew up going to
96?
86.
86.
Yeah,
Oh,
grew up
okay.
going to a bunch of concerts in the '80s with my brother, and I loved it, man. That was the life in the '80s, like all
Yeah.
the music. And back then, every band would come through town for the tours. They'd always stop at the Coliseum, and it was always a big thing for us. You know, it was like a whole day thing for us.
Oh
Who's your-
yeah,
who's
but
your
yeah. I
number
was gonna
one
say.
band?
I was gonna say, who's favorite concert all time?
Oh, I've been to a lot of them, man. But
Nice.
like my favorite band has always been Iron Maiden.
Ooh, wow. Nice.
But I've seen them so many times. I guess like taking my kids to see them.
Wow.
Was one of my favorites.
Wow.
Like I've seen John Mayer, and he was great in concert. He's such a
Yeah.
good blues guitarist.
He's a good musician, yeah.
I saw Rod Stewart in '85 and in Las Cruces at the Pan Am. He performed like for 4 hours without an opening act or anything. Just him.
4 hours.
It was awesome. I got to see Rush.
Oh
wow.
I saw Deep Purple with Richie Blackmore, Yngwie Malmsteen, and AC/DC.
Anyway, wow, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
I saw Def Leppard. Def Leppard the last time
huh?
they ever came here.
Nice.
Just so many good shows, man.
And then, don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but what about local bands?
Well, there's so
Favorite
many of
local-
them.
Yeah,
Like,
there is.
there's
There
so
is.
many, man. I could go back, and there's some bands that aren't performing anymore. Like Avondale, they're one of my favorites.
Avondale.
They should have.
that was a
they
local
should
band?
have. Yeah, they're a local band. They were a local band. They should have been famous, man. Their music is so good.
Wow.
Really?
It's a lot. I mean,
They did original stuff?
yes.
Oh.
You check them out. You'll love their whole sound. It's like indie alternative, I guess.
Indie rock or something?
Yeah, but it's great. We have some friends. They're in a band called No Suffer now. They used to be called Triumph Over Shipwreck. Jay and Irk, and they're just really good friends of ours. And it's funny because I go to a show and I'll see musicians, and they're just like family to us, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we've seen them so many times, and every time we see them, it's great.
Yeah.
I don't know where to start. I mean, there's so many.
Yeah, there's
so
so
many good acts out there.
Wow.
And then a lot of them too. They all kind of. I know it's the ones that play with like with Windy City and stuff like that. They the same members bounce
Yeah.
around from different bands, so they all kind of know each other as well.
Yeah, and then there's some like really heavy bands that I love. Like when I first started going to shows with my son, like the screaming and the heavy genting and all that, to me, I was like, what happened to music? I mean, it's evolved so much, but I learned to love it. There's some really heavy local bands called Rotten Disgust.
Rotten Disgust.
Rotten Disgust.
Rotten Disgust. Okay.
And Signs of Abnormality and stuff like that. But they're heavy, but they're just so good, man.
Wow.
They just make me feel good when I hear them.
Nice.
And you know, the dudes are so cool. The kids in the band, like the kid, there's a friend of ours. He goes by Hobo. He's in the band called Rotten Disgust. He's a vocalist. But that kid, I've been seeing him at shows since he was in middle school.
Wow.
He's been going to shows ever since then, and he's like one of the kids who like, I would invite him. Hey man, are you going to that show? No, I don't have a ride. So my son and I would go pick him up, take him to shows with us, and then like we go to Denny's afterwards, and I'd bring him along just so that he could
Hang out.
be part of the whole experience,
of
you know.
it,
And now
yeah,
he's in a
yeah.
band, and it feels like he's like family to us.
Nice.
Very
Wow.
good. Very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so many good friends. That for me, that's the bottom line, is like the friendships we've made along the way, you know.
Gotcha.
It's been like, for me, it's been surreal because like when I first started going to shows, I like literally had like no life, no friends. I was coming off of a divorce. I had my kids and my parents pretty much,
Wow.
and then I started going to shows with my son, and boom, like my whole life changed.
You found
Now you're-
your little niche.
Yeah, but you know, and I don't know how religious you guys are, But I went to an X retreat like right then when that happened, and that's why I wear this bracelet. But I went to an X retreat, and that I honestly believe that was a turning point in my life, big time.
And now you're the big Papa Joe.
Axe, you see?
X
Oh, the
ACTS, yeah.
ACTS. Okay,
I've
gotcha.
never heard of that.
Axe.
Yeah, it's like put on by Catholic churches, but it's really non-denominational. You don't have to be
It's
Catholic
like a
to
men's
go.
retreat or something, no?
Yeah, well, they have men's and then they have women's too. So English and Spanish. So, and that's been a big part of my life too.
Oh, I know. Excellent.
I love
Very
it.
good. Very good. Wow. Excellent. And if you were, out of curiosity, we always ask this question once in a while, like if you could be able to go see any band right now in concert, who would it be of all time, dead or alive? Who would have been one of that
Led
one
Zeppelin.
group that you'd,
Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin?
Oh.
Okay. We're just curious what
Yeah.
those guys thought.
Yeah, I like how you said it with such confidence, man. It's-
There's no question.
No
I mean,
question.
for me, like classic bands would be Led Zeppelin. Modern bands would be this band called A Lot Like Birds. They broke up like 2 years ago, like right when I was getting into them. Like they had just released this album called Divisi. They played here the day before it released, so we went to go see them that day. And I heard the songs and I was like, okay, cool. But the next day it dropped, the album dropped, and I just fell in love with it. I mean, I can honestly say that's my all-time favorite album.
Oh, wow.
Really?
From beginning to end.
What's
And
the
then-
name of that band again?
A Lot Like Birds.
A Lot Like Birds.
So then they went and toured the country and stuff, and they came back, and then when they got back from tour, they broke up.
But they're an El Paso band?
No, they're a California band.
Oh.
Yeah, they're
Oh, gotta check them
I
out.
like Birds,
Yeah.
yeah.
so
Jam
good,
them
man.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot like
We will.
birds.
Yeah,
Wow. Interesting.
just a lot of. I mean, just so many good bands out there, man. You know, I don't know
Oh,
where to
yeah.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. A lot.
Wow, well, it's been fun.
Yeah, man.
Time
Thanks for
passed by when you're having
Thanks for
fun.
joining us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for
Again,
the invite, man.
they can listen to your podcast.
The Desert Bonfire.
Yeah, it's
Desert
called
Bonfire.
Desert Bonfire, and then under it says like an El Paso podcast.
Oh, no, Paso
So
podcast.
you can find us on Spotify. Is it Apple Podcasts? Pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts.
Okay.
And we're also on Buzzsprout.com. That's our host,
Okay.
podcast host. So
And that's on Sundays.
Sundays, yeah, most of the time because I do my best to edit them on Sunday mornings, and then I'll just release it anytime when I'm finished.
Gotcha.
And if you guys have music that you'd like for us to review, hit us up for that too.
Ah,
Cool.
there you go.
Very good.
We love listening to new stuff, and there's just so much good music in El Paso that people don't. I don't know, for some reason they just don't get the exposure to it, you know. And these guys work hard. They work their asses off for their passion,
Right.
and they could all use a little push.
Got it.
Of course.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very good. Man, thanks a lot, dude.
Well, thank you guys, man. We'll just hang out all day here and just talk.
I can do it. For sure.
Thank you, Papa Joe, for joining us.
Thank
Papa
you guys,
Joe,
man.
hit him up for photography, the Desert Bonfire podcast.
Yep.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
guys, man.
Once again, we are the SignBroCast. Make sure to subscribe, and we're signing off.
Have a good day.
Some rules